If it is or if it ain't, it's going to come out. Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you are listening to God, Sex, and Love. Your daily dose of inspiration and juice. It is December the 30th, 2022, and today the topic is Taming the Spirit of Jezebel. Good morning, y'all. Good morning. I hope that you all had a great day yesterday. Mine was just fine. As you all can see, those that are watching me live, I think it's pretty apparent that I must have filmed an episode of Jezebel, because y'all see me in Studio A. Yep, I'm in Studio A, aka the green screen. Yeah, so that's one thing that I did yesterday. Aside from that, it's pretty chill overall. You know, just kind of worked on some tasks for my mom and things like that. I mean, one blessing came out of nowhere again. I mean, you know, today your girl gonna be going out there and doing a birthday party. Mad Miraculous is gonna be making an appearance today, the Lord's will. So thank and praise God for, again, all opportunities and everything like that. Shout out to our friends over at Big Thinkers for sending your girl out here working and everything like that. So, yeah, that came through yesterday, and I was like, well, yes, ma'am, I am available. I am available. Yeah, but that's pretty much, I guess, the main significant things of yesterday. Yeah, I mean, we might be curious about this topic today. And obviously, y'all see that I'm recording a little bit later. I guess my mind just was really engulfed on everything and trying to figure out, like, you know, what is it that the Lord wanted me to say about this. You know, I was getting little pieces, but at the same time, I was like, Lord, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, what are you showing me? You know? But I think, you know, at least I've come to some conclusions. You know, I do have some verses and whatnot to share. And so, you know, let's see what the Lord has to say through little old me today in regards to taming the spirit of Jezebel. So, okay, so for the record, one thing is that I had a dream, and I don't remember everything, but I remember a well-known YouTuber, or you might consider her to be an influencer, was in my dream. And I can't remember everything that was going on, so my apologies. And again, I don't think it's relevant to say her name or anything. But, I mean, you know, just a young girl, whatever the case is, you know. And, I mean, I guess when I woke up this morning, and when I thought about her and, like, some of the other ladies that I kind of, you know, follow or, like, look at or whatever, maybe as inspiration in some ways, you know. Maybe as, like, oh, well, this is great that, you know, these women are out here building, you know, their own platforms, or, you know, they have these things going. And so to me, that can be inspirational, right? To see someone not necessarily doing what I want to do, but, like, you know, having some aspects or qualities of, like, admirable things, right? But I don't know, y'all, because, I mean, on the flip side, right, I'm constantly seeing, you know, this divide and this tension between men and women. And I don't know, I guess the Lord wants to talk about it this morning through little old me, because I woke up, apparently I woke up at 3:48, right? And I look up the Strong's Concordance, and the words lead me to hinder Jezebel. And I'm like, and unfortunately, I did think about the young lady, which I'm like, you know, I hate to call anybody a Jezebel, because I mean, usually that's not come with a good connotation to hear that, right? To hear somebody be called that. And I'm not saying that's what she is, or maybe, I don't know. I'm just saying, when I read that this morning in the Strong's Concordance, I was thinking about her, and then I ended up thinking about other influencers that I kind of watch or have been gravitated to, or whatever the case is, and they do all kind of have a similar vibe, I guess you would say, about them. And I guess that, plus being reminded of like this tension between men and women, as well as something I came across yesterday where this lady was like, you know, ladies, we are the problem, and everything like that. And plus, I'm always seeing these different, lately, yesterday and well, not today, because today just started. So over the past few days, at least this week, I've been seeing these TikToks or videos where, you know, either women are calling out other women about like certain things that they have observed, or just certain ways that we handle men, and just it's all this different type of stuff. And this was the inspiration for today, y'all. Like all of those things in combination was pretty much the inspiration for today. It might be pulp, it might be something that we don't want to hear, especially as women, or whatever the case is. And I know even yesterday, me and the lady that I was interviewing were just kind of talking as wives, and sharing, I guess, the perspective of like, you know, we understand that like people take issue with what the Bible has to say to women, or people teach what the Bible has to say to women in a way that makes women not feel empowered, or not feel like, you know, let's just leave it at empowered, you know. And on the flip side, like when I study, right, I see plenty of empowered women in the Bible, you know. Proverbs 31 woman seems very empowered, you know. She's out here owning land and got, obviously, seems to be several business endeavors and stuff like that. And, you know, I mean, I don't necessarily feel suppressed, you know, when I read about her, or when I read about Deborah, or when I read about Queen Esther, or any of these women, right? But then we come across Jezebel, right? And on one hand, you know, I think maybe what took me so long to come this morning, because I kept being like, well, Lord, what is it, right, about her? Because, like, I mean, I'm familiar, right? And I mean, you know, I didn't go deep and read every little thing about her. So I guess that's something we can do. We all can do that, right? Go deeper and read more and get more information regarding her. But, you know, I was like, well, what is it about, like, what she did? Like, I get that she, you know, I guess set up some situations where set up people to get killed, all this different type of stuff. And obviously that's evil. I get that. You know, I'm not asking in that regard. But, like, a lot of the verses that I did read, it kind of took more issue with her husband, right? It was like Ahab did this or that was, you know, worse than previous kings before him. So I'm not saying or making light of what Jezebel did, because obviously she had some influence over him. But I guess that's where it comes from. I guess that's what we're talking about today. The Jezebel spirit. Like, and then I guess, oh Lord, okay, so I guess the other thing is that, you know, a lot of us desire to be wives, right? You know, y'all know I was out here, you know, again, I wrote all about it. You know, I was struggling with it. And I'm like, you know, I have this desire to be a wife and everything like that. And I believe that a lot of women do. But then I think part of the issue is that some of us are bringing to the table this Jezebel spirit. Uh-oh. Ooh, okay, I'm just telling y'all what the Lord is in short. Read this morning. Don't come for me, okay? But yeah, I mean, I think that might be part of some of the issues that are happening again between men and women in general, and then definitely in marriage. So, I mean, it seems to me what I'm receiving this morning is hinder Jezebel, or let's tame this spirit, and therefore, I guess, perhaps, maybe we can walk into this season of what we really, really want. You know, again, not only just because of what I heard, you know, this lady share yesterday about her particular point of view, but then also, like, Oh Lord. Basically I came across this video where this lady was like, oh, this one of my friends was talking about this guy she met and everything was great with him and she's like everything about him. But then she told me that she broke up with him and I asked her what happened and she said because his car is old. And I mean, now y'all might not look at that as being a Jezebel spirit or whatever the case is, but I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, like, sometimes we get in our own way is why I share that. You know, sometimes we get in our own way in our own because we have in our mind what we think things should be, and for whatever reason. And so I guess that's what we're addressing today with the juice. So let's get into some of the things that I studied and came, you know, what I come across this morning. So basically, when I looked up the word hinder, it said create difficulties for someone or something, resulting in delay or obstruction. So that actually kind of reminded me about what I was talking about yesterday about haze and not seeing clearly and things like that, something being in the way. So I was like, okay, you know. And then I ended up looking up the word taming, and it said domesticate an animal. But then the second definition says make less powerful and easier to control. So, I mean, now, when I went a little bit deeper, I ended up coming across some blog posts about Jezebel and stuff like that and reading some of that. I mean, you know, we shouldn't take it lightly, these spirits, right? I mean, you know, and everything like that. I'm sorry, I'm laughing, y'all. I'm just, in a lot of ways, I guess I'm just kind of like, dumbfounded that the Lord is allowing me to talk about this. Because I don't necessarily, how can I say this? I mean, it kind of came out of nowhere. I'll put it like that. It seems like it came out of nowhere to be talking about this. So that's what I'm saying. But anyway, let's get into this, y'all. So as I was reflecting on this morning and thinking about Jezebel and thinking about this whole operating in this type of, you know, okay, all right, so let's talk about marriage, right? Let's talk about what the Bible has to say about women and marriage and all this stuff. The narrative is, like, when you talk to people that take issue with the Bible, they'll say these things like, oh, because the man is talking about submitting to the man and da 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 da, and so women don't have control, da 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 da. And I'm like, huh? Like, what are y'all talking about? Like, because when I read and study the Bible, I mean, women have plenty of control. It says that not only is the woman submitting to the man, but the man also submits to his wife. Like, I mean, you know, and there's communication and all kinds of things going on there. So it's not, the submission isn't necessarily like oppression. Like, if people are using it in that way, now I'm not going to, you know, people use it in that way. But, I mean, what the Bible says isn't that, from what I read and study, right? But I like, and yeah, we talking about Jezebel, right? And we talking about the Jezebel spirit today. But I think the issue came way before her. So I got led back to Genesis, y'all, and let me remind us of this right here. So Genesis 3:16, it says, unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception in sorrow. Thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. Now, obviously, you know, y'all, I got things to say about that giving birth thing, you know what I'm saying? But we ain't talking about that right now. I want to focus on that last half, because I think that's probably where some of these issues come from when it comes to between the strife between men and women. It says here in that last part, thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. Now, why did the Lord do that? Right? It's because, if you remember, Eve had so much influence over Adam to encourage him to eat the fruit that God had told Adam not to eat directly. You know what I'm saying? And so, and I feel like, again, this is where some of the issue come in, because we as women, right, I'll just say in general, right, we might take issue with our husbands being over us. Again, a lot of people take issue with submitting to your husband, and then we forget about the fact that he's also required to love as Christ loved the church, which is a huge undertaking. Like, that's a huge thing. But we make light of that for some reason. But anyway, we talk about the women right now. We talking about us, right? Because I'm a woman, okay? And it just husbands and wives, because let's be specific about that. It's not every man has control over every woman. Can we put that on the table, right? Can we just say that? Okay. So husbands and wives, right? So our husband, right, it says, shall rule over thee. Why? Because Eve overstepped her boundary by encouraging, enticing, however she did to get Adam to eat that fruit. Now let's talk about Jezebel, right? From what I'm understanding and what I see, that's mainly part of the issue as well. Obviously, she had so much control over her husband, Ahab, that, encouraged him to do all these different type of things that I guess really came against God so much that it was worse than the kings before him. Now, seems to me, just by those two accounts, if I talk to the men for a second, not trying to teach you or nothing. I'm just what I'm coming across here is that perhaps something that might tame the spirit of Jezebel is a strong God-fearing man. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, if either one of them men was a little bit stronger and had a little bit more backbone, then perhaps these stories wouldn't have went the way they did. Okay. So that might be something. I don't know, just throwing it out there. That might be something, that would tame the spirit of Jezebel. I don't know, but we can all go deeper and pray about that. That's just something I'm observing here. Let's keep going. So, 2 Kings 9:22, it says, and when Jerome, maybe I wrote that wrong, y'all can confirm for yourself, saw Jehu, he said, is it peace, Jehu? He answered, what peace can there be so long as the whorings and sorceries of your mother Jezebel are so many? So again, I was asking the Lord this question over and over again today. I'm like, well, what did she do? You know what I mean? Like, I get what she did. I get what, I do get it. But then there was something that I didn't fully understand about, like, what she did or why it was so bad or why, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was trying to go deeper. I was trying to get a better understanding so I could be able to talk about it today. Because I was like, okay, Lord, you're putting this on my heart and mind, but I don't understand fully, what it is. But now I guess in this moment, what I'm seeing, right, is that it's not necessarily even just her, right? And that's why we got to talk about the spirit of Jezebel. It's not just this particular Jezebel. It's the spirit that she was operating under or that was operating in her. This spirit of, I know there was one of the blogs that kind of broke it down in a way that's really good. So go deeper by all means and check that out. But if I could just go off my memory real quick, I know I should have wrote it down. But basically it was like her, I guess her deceptive ways of like, getting other people to do things for her. You know what I mean? Like, maybe she wasn't the one that pulled the swords or stuff, but she like put the things in motion, that type of thing, or using or seducing or whatever the case is to get that type of influence. Like, those things are what I feel like God takes issue over more than just her as the person. I hope this is making sense. Is this making sense to anybody else? So it's saying here, the whorings and sorceries of your mother Jezebel are so many. So, I mean, when we read about, like, the different things that this particular Jezebel did, we see things like, I guess forging this letter in her husband's name that I guess took the vineyard, all this type of stuff, I guess, cutting off the man of God, so much so that they had to go in hiding and all these different things. Even my guy, man, like, listen, Elijah is one of my favorite biblical figures, right? And even he was a little bit shaken up by this Jezebel woman. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what the Lord is taking issue with, that spirit behind those things that she did, and can we be honest women and say that, some of us operate in the same way. Can we be, what, we don't want it. This is Pope this morning. Nobody don't want to hear this. We operate in these ways. I know people talk about it all the time. They talk about, like, women that, I guess withhold sex, that's one thing, they talk about how women use them, I think if we all are honest, man, women do have influence over men. Like, not only just in the Bible, like in today's time, like I think that's pretty evident in a lot of ways and reasons and stuff. Like, now again, strong man, backbone, really strong God-fearing man could probably, nip some of that in the bud, some of it. But, I mean, at the same time, too, women, I mean, again, if you desire to be a wife and all of that, maybe we might need to kind of tame, right, some of those wiles, because we do have influence, right? Again, we can speak life into our husbands, or we can tear our husbands down, and again, I mean, the Bible shows different ways that is handled. I mean, we got the Proverbs 31, handling all kinds of business, owning land, buying property, all kinds of things. And it don't seem like she's operating in the spirit over her husband. It talks about her husband and everything like that, but it doesn't say anything about her, like, controlling him or trying to control or any of that, But then on the flip side, we got Jezebel, right? That's over here, like, doing things in her husband's name and all this type of stuff that's, causing havoc or whatever. So just something to think about. Just throwing it out there, something to think about. The Lord be bringing these things together for me in the morning. I'm telling y'all, I literally just write down verses and I be like, Lord, what are you saying? What you want me to even say about this? And then I start talking and recording, and then I got a like, so thank you for tuning in. Anywho, so then we go to Revelations, y'all. Revelations 2:20. It says, "But I have this against you, that you tolerate that woman Jezebel, who calls herself a prophetess, and is teaching and seducing my servants to practice and sexual immorality and eat food sacrificed to idols." That was funny because I was like, now, Lord, listen, you said all the food is, but see, that's the thing. We got to think, I think personally that sometimes we got to think beyond what these words are saying. Because, I don't think it has, the more I thought about this and really looked at it, I'm like, I don't know if this really has anything to do with the food per se. I think it's more so about, like, again, what all this stuff represents. You know what I'm saying? Again, to God, these things are like adultery, whoring. He called, like, any type of, like, how can I say this? If you read in the Bible, like, and there's different accounts of, like, where he said that that Israel was in some ways like committing adultery against him. And so if we just look at the words themselves, we're like, well, how can a country, is it having sex? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we might break it down like that. And I think, we need to be looking at, I guess, with a spiritual mind and eye. And maybe we'll get a better understanding of what it's saying. So, again, this spirit, right, of Jezebel, is teaching and seducing believers, people in the church, all these type of things to do what? Practice sexual immorality. Now, I mean, yeah, we could just literally say sexual immorality because that's all around us everywhere we go. Okay. There's plenty of that. Plenty of proof of that. Just sexual immorality itself. But then let's just say, maybe it's even deeper than that. Maybe it's also, again, this concept of fornicating against the Lord. Things of that nature. Same with this whole thing about eating food sacrificed to idols. Like, perhaps, again, we're consuming, I'm just going to say it, perhaps we're consuming the alternative beliefs. Perhaps we're consuming alternative, let's say lifestyles, but like, we're consuming things that are alternative to what the Lord wants. And this is, could also be the same as eating the food sacrificed to idols. I don't know. Maybe that's too deep this morning. I'm just telling y'all what is coming to me as I'm reading these verses and stuff like that. I think, there are women that's operating in this. But I think just this is a spirit, right, that we need to, if you feel like this is within you, then you need to kind of tame that, right? And I guess prepare to be, right, the Proverbs 31 woman. If you want to really be a wife, like I guess that's just to women. But like overall, right, men and women, however you want to look at it, people of God, right. I guess we need to get familiar with these type of spirits, so then therefore we can, know how to handle them when we come across them. again, I feel like some of these blogs that I came across, they kind of gave some, at least a good idea. But even the Bible itself tells us, how to handle spirits that come against Christ or the Word of God or what the Lord is saying or the Bible or however you want to look at it. Those, like, how to handle those spirits. Like, again, just, it's so fun. You know what, Lord? Wow. So this morning I came across posting Let's Be Clear, and they were talking about how, people ghost each other and different things like that. And I just came from the perspective of like, hey, as somebody that's been quote unquote ghosted and still don't know what happened or why and stuff like that. I mean, I do feel like we as men and women should be able to talk to each other and share or whatever the case is. Even if we agree to disagree, we should be able to talk. But at the same time, too, I do understand, like, sometimes you might just have to cut, cold turkey, rip the Band-Aid off of certain situations if you're, dealing with somebody that isn't receptive. And so, again, I believe that the Word of God tells us how to address these things. Like, again, spirits that come against God, like, all that type of stuff. Maybe these people are in leadership positions in church or whatever the case is. Like, you're supposed to come to that person directly. According to the Bible, you're supposed to come to that person directly. If they don't receive you then, you come with a couple more people. If they don't receive after that, you come with the church. If they don't receive after that, I think you might come to them one more time. I can't remember. If not, I think after that third time, then you just be done with them. And so, yeah, I mean, even that is a way to handle the Jezebel spirit and any other spirit that comes against God. So, yeah, that's the juice, y'all. That's that's what I received this morning. Y'all can go deeper about the Jezebel spirit in particular, and Jezebel, as well. There's a couple of blog posts that are in the Go Deeper section. One is at crosswalk.com. It's called What is the Jezebel Spirit and How Do I Know If Someone Has One? It's written by Howe Bolinger. And then there's also another one, biblicalarchaeology.org, that is called How Bad Was Jezebel? And it's written by Howe Gaines. So, yeah, that's all I got to say about that, y'all. Hope that these things encourage you and inspire you in whatever, aspect you may receive something in. Again, if you're a woman and you're, seeking marriage and all this type of stuff, hey, this is something to think about. Let's not operate in a Jezebel spirit with our spouses. Let us, be more like the Proverbs 31 woman. Let's put it like that. On the flip side, if you're a man and you're dealing with a woman or whatever that has this Jezebel spirit, hey, maybe get a little bit more backbone. You might be able to, tame that a little bit. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. Or just in general, right? In general. If you see these spirits operating in your life or your, church or whatever the case is, address it the way the Bible tells us to do. And that's the juice, y'all. That is the juice. Look, the Bible verse of today is Psalm 32:8. It says, I will instruct thee and teach thee in the way which thou shalt go. I will guide thee with mine eye. Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration and juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye. Are you engaged, married, separated? Friends, don't give up. Let no man separate what God has joined together, not even you. Transform your marriage and your idea of marriage today with Marriage Reignited. This program is a insightful look into marriage and what are the true needs of his and her. You guys can get a discount when you use Miracle Video or Miracle Combo. Miracle Video will get you $5 off of the video, and Miracle Combo will give you $10 off of the video and book. Check out marriagereignited.com for more information. That's MARRIAGEREIGNITED.com. And again, that's Miracle Video, MIRACLEVIDEO, or Miracle Combo, MIRACLECOMBO.